What will we study in this course, and what do I mean by minor literature? The course is called Minor Literature, which is not a title that I chose myself. For the most part, I am interpreting the title of the course as a literature written by writers with minority identities, writers who belong to minorities. What is a minority? A group of people that are somehow discriminated against or exploited by the stronger groups in society. Minority identities are considered outside of the norm of society and are therefore more vulnerable. For instance, if America thinks of itself as a white country or a mostly white country, then they discriminate against African Americans, Native Americans, even Asian Americans. If it thinks about itself as a mostly Christian society, it can discriminate against Jews and Muslims to different extents. To quote sociologist Louis Wirth, it is a group of people who, because of their physical or cultural characteristics, are signaled out from the others in the society in which they live for different and unequal treatment, and who therefore regard themselves as objects of collective discrimination. You are not treated badly just because you are you, but you are treated badly because you are black, because your group as a whole is discriminated against. The point is not that there are less of them, of the minority, than other groups, but they are at a disadvantage. Minority status is not a matter of statistics. You could argue that women are a kind of minority, even though women account for 52% of the population. Similarly, the African population, the black people in South Africa, consist of most of the population, but because they were severely oppressed by the European ruling class of that country, we can talk about them in the context of a minority and certainly talk about their writing in a course about minor literature. On the other hand, red-headed people are a small part of the population, but since to the most part we're not discriminated against as a group, then we wouldn't really talk about it as a minority. So I will include in this course works by people from racial and ethnic minorities, like African Americans, Native Americans, Asian Americans, and Arab Americans. The latter two groups, Asian American and Arab American, are also often immigrants or second generation to immigration. So we'll describe that status as well. We will also discuss disability and sexual orientation. We will also discuss disability and sexual orientation, but these two axes will not get as much attention as the issue of race and ethnicity. Almost all of the texts that we are going to read are by American writers and from the last 60 to 70 years. That's because that's the area of literature I know the best. Someone else teaching this course, preparing this course, might take material from Britain, Canada, etc. Even go further afield and talk about writers in India and Africa who write in English. Also, a lot of the writers are women. This is a bit of an accident. I didn't set out to fill this syllabus with women writers, but that's what happened. There are a lot of good women writers, especially in the field of minor literature, where they have this double struggle, the feminist struggle or women's struggle, and their ethnic or other struggles as well. While a lot of our time will be dedicated to specific texts, we will also try to draw some general principles about reading minor literature and talk about recurring themes and concerns when we are reading minor literature. The theoretical material is here to help us generalize and read. It is also an institutional requirement. The college wants me to teach you secondary material, that is theoretical text and articles, and not just stories and poems. Lastly, it should be good practice before you write your seminar paper, where you will be required to read secondary text and theoretical literature, to read it as part of a course. The next video will deal with a poem, and the next one after that will already start to read a theoretical text that defines some key features of minor